And we are back. Thank you so much for choosing us to keep you company all the way till 7 p.m. And in case you're just joining us, welcome to Kenya's Gold, where our focus of the day is on Pyrethrum, a sector that has so much potential, but at the same time has been faced by so many challenges that we are determined to fix, one gold conversation at a time. And to shed more light on the sector today, we are joined by our expert, Kennedy Miheso, an agronomist all the way from Eldoret. Karibu sana Kenya's Gold.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much for making time to be with us today. Now, just jumping straight into the conversation, today in our feature, we were focusing on drying of pyrethrum. But first, we want you to help us create a clear picture of how, as a farmer, I can tell my pyrethrum is ready for harvesting to avoid premature harvesting of pyrethrum.
Okay. Pyrethrum being a composite family, it has characteristics of two florets. One is the white part, the ray flowers, and then the yellow flower inside. Yes, and when it's ready, it opens horizontally, the ray flowers, and then those nini,
the yellow part.
The yellow part. There are so many flowers in one flower. They'll have opened at least 3 rows of the flowers. Yes.
So until the white part is completely spread out.
Spread out horizontally, and then the 3 rings are open.
What would be the danger of harvesting your flowers before it's completely spread out horizontally? It may spread out, but not completely as it should. What damage does that do to a farmer?
The pyrethrins increase as the flower matures. So if that flower has not matured, it will have low pyrethrin, and then it will affect the payment of the farmer.
Now we are going to get to that payment aspect so we understand how it works in the pyrethrum sector. But first, let's talk about a farmer who has gone to harvest during the day and probably decides to dry tomorrow. Aache kama ameweka kwa hiyo ndoo yenye alikuwa anaharvestia. Is that allowed, or immediately I go and harvest my pyrethrum, I need to dry it immediately?
Yeah, you need to dry the pyrethrum immediately and continuously. That means you are supposed to dry in a greenhouse, spreading the flowers, or in a solar dryer.
All right.
Yes.
So that means if I do not dry it immediately, if I leave it probably overnight in the bucket where I was harvesting from, does it also contribute to lowering the pyrethrum content, or what happens?
Yeah, it will attract the process called fermentation, and then that fermentation breaks the pyrethrin into something else.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Now, for different crops, most of the time when it comes to payment to a farmer, inalingana na kilo. All right. So the kgs you take, whether it's the coffee or tea, it's all about the kgs that you bring. But here for pyrethrum, there's that which you're calling the pyrethrin content. So a farmer is paid as per the kilo of your pyrethrin content.
Yes.
Please talk to us about that which we are calling the pyrethrin content, and what is the range like?
Pyrethrins are measured in percentage, and it ranges from 0.8% to 3%, and then in between there. So the 1% is tagged to Kenya shillings 250. Yes. Then,
so 250 is for
1%.
Okay, so if we measure your pyrethrin content and you are at 1%,
you'll be given 250 Kenya shillings.
For a kilo?
Yes, per
All
kilo.
right, okay.
Yeah, and then the rest of the calculations are made on that 1%.
All right.
Like if you have 0.8, you just multiply by 250, you get 200 shillings. If you have 2%, you multiply by 250, and you get 500 shillings.
All right, but the highest pyrethrum content is at?
The highest pyrethrum content is at 750 Kenya shillings.
All right, and yes. The percentage is 3%.
3%.
Please talk to us about what determines the pyrethrum content in your flowers.
The pyrethrum content is determined by the altitude. That is, you can grow pyrethrum at a range of 2,000 meters above sea level up to 17,000 meters, 1,700 meters above sea level. Then in between there, you have the temperatures. The temperatures, the lower the temperatures, the higher the pyrethrum. The flower makes pyrethrums during the cold temperatures. Yes. And then there is also a choice of cultivars. A cultivar is something that is cultivated. It has we have recommended varieties for specific areas, and the recommended clones for specific areas. Yes. So,
still in the point where we're talking about premature harvesting of pyrethrum, it does also affect your pyrethrum content. Do we have a situation where, as an agronomist, you're dealing with farmers who are yet to understand the point at which they need to harvest their pyrethrum?
Yes.
And what do you do about yes and no?
Yes, because we have been training them so that they harvest properly. But there are situations that that guide them to harvest that way.
All right.
Yeah, like when there's true and bad disease, true and false bad disease strikes, then they have to harvest the buds.
Right.
And deliver them.
Great.
Unfortunately. Then when they are planning to cut back, they strip the crop of the buds, then they cut back.
All right. So we will want to find out about the equipment that we use when we are measuring the pyrethrum content, and also what we are doing to make sure that at the end of the day, we do not have faulty equipment that may give, degrees and measures that are not right. That and a lot more will be forming part of our conversation after this short commercial break that we are taking right now. Stay with us.